Would you like to get social media marketing advice from a professional who's been doing it successfully for years with such companies as Helium 10, Backview, also had experience with working with MGM Studios, IMAX Studios, and Fox Television? Enter Cassandra Craven. Let's roll. Roll one, take one, action. Cassandra, this is actually our gift to you.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Okay, I have to admit, I was definitely gonna take some Instas with this. So now that I get to keep it, there's gonna be a lot more of them. Oh my God, thank you guys so much. This is so cool.
How you went from doing Hollywood reality TV shows to Amazon world and IT?
Even coming into social media marketing was around 2011, 2012. And no one knew, I mean, we've used MySpace, Facebook was kind of emerging. Instagram wasn't even a thing when I started. So that I really brought a lot of those elements into the world of daytime court, which is similar to, I kind of always liken it to where Amazon was when I started in 2019. Like, there's a good product, there's a foundation there, but no one really knows what to do or how to connect with their audiences or their consumers or their brands. And what I ended up doing was bringing a lot of new things to the daytime court world. I moved around after that. I went from Fox to MGM. I ended up working in advertising for a little bit. And then I came back to IMAX, which was in Los Angeles. And I learned a lot of amazing things. I worked on some big films like Aquaman. I did all the social media marketing. I did the red carpet. And I loved it. I have to say, it was incredible. But I'm an Orange County girl, I have to say. And I also get bored easily because I am a creative person. And one thing that, as much as I loved working for those large scale brands, there is so much red tape that goes into working with Disney, IMAX, Fox, Paramount, etc. Obviously, you know this from a legal standpoint. And so when I saw the opportunity for Helium 10, it was like this blank canvas. And I was like, okay, this is new, it's emerging. I feel like I could do a lot of exciting things. I could implement all of the tactics and strategies and creative elements that I took for these big brands into Amazon. And it became one of the best decisions I ever made, honestly. This is incredible.
So when entrepreneurs and brands come to you, how do you usually help them?
I feel like people come to me and then they want to go from like 0 to 100, and they don't realize that there's a lot of foundations that come into building your social media network, your social media profiles, and how audiences see your eventual Amazon listing or your product and brand. So there's just so many steps and foundations. So people always come to me and say like, well, how do I connect with influencers? And they always assume that it's going to cost, thousands of dollars, or that they need, certain amount of things or expectations to be met. When really I give them more of a grassroots approach. I'm like, well, if you have no budget, you can go and search through Instagram. You can find people, hit them up in the DMs. I think that's where also showcasing your personal, either your personal profile or your brand's profile becomes extremely important, because that's your calling card. People will see if you're legit based on your photography, your videos, where you go. That's how they connect with you and how they build relationships. And I think people forget about that. I think that's why I've been so successful, is that I showcase myself and what I'm all about. So then people want to work with me. And I think that's what Amazon sellers need to do as well. And so it's all about those foundational steps to get you to where you want to go and how you want to actually leverage, whether it's social media creative and marketing or influencer relationships, or combining the two to eventually get conversions and sell your product.
Brands that are selling on Amazon should definitely have social media accounts. Absolutely. And work in social media realm.
Absolutely. And I think another thing that people will say is they think they have to do everything. Like, they think they have to be on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn and YouTube. And it's like, that becomes so overwhelming that then you end up doing nothing. And especially if it's not your thing. Like, if you're more that like left brain person who's like, I'm here to sell, I'm here to negotiate, I'm here to this, suppliers, blah, 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 versus a creative thinker, you're going to just be like, I don't care anymore. And you want to shut it down. I also think there's ways to, whether you're working with VAs or even college students, whatever it may be, there's so many other avenues that you can take to build your social media profiles. And you should take it one step at a time. It shouldn't be, okay, I've got to do a million things all at once. Really build something that you actually feel passionate about, or where your audience is. People also always ask me like, what are the free options for influencer marketing? And then what if I do have a budget and want to put some money behind it? So on the free side, I always tell them, build up your profile, make sure you look good, make sure you know what you're talking about, telling about your story, your brand story. Then go and look for people, search, use all of the native app features to find people that fit your brand and your audience and their lifestyle. Reach out to them, be personable. That's how you really make those connections, whether you're swapping products or want to do a low payment, etc. On the flip side, if you're a scaling seller, you have money, you have budget to put behind influencer marketing, there are websites, there are databases that you can leverage. My favorite is IZEA, IZEA. We actually use it at Helium 10. I use it with IMAX as well. And what it is a huge database of everyone from even, again, smaller budgets right up to like Kylie Jenner, of people that you can see how much they pay per ad, what the content is. You can do the full breakdown. Do you want them to record? Are you providing a video? And it all goes, and it's negotiable too, so that you don't feel that you're always locked into one price. So that's where I would say if you're looking for a little bit of a higher tier, a little more curated content, someone that's going to give you polished quality, I would go and invest in a software like IZEA and have your influencer marketing through there.
Do you feel like there is a difference in output when a brand gets free content versus paid content?
Yes, I think there are certain people that will do it for free and they still know lighting and angles and quality, and they can even do some maybe basic editing and it still looks good, but it's a different feel and your audiences are connecting differently than a professional influencer. Probably has a studio. They probably memorize, what the talking points are and the bullets of your product or your tagline. I've worked with people before and you can see them, people who are less experienced, you can see them like reading across the screen and that just looks terrible on your end, like what are you going to do with that footage and you're paying for it. So if you want someone to be a little more credible about it, but also be able to use it as something to showcase, you definitely investing a little more in a professional influencer is valuable. And then if you're going on the other side of it, you just want someone to be organic. Why do you love it? Show me using your product, da da da. You want that kind of raw and real look. So there's definitely two ends of the spectrum, and I think investing is definitely beneficial.
Will people, consumers, still trust influencers, or will it become a thing where people just see this and say, oh, this is paid, I don't know if I can trust this. What do you feel like about that?
I totally agree. More and more, especially, I think that's why TikTok has become so successful, because it is so stripped down, not curated, and Instagram is the complete polar opposite. Everyone has beauty lights, even though it's UGC, it's very curated UGC, and people, like you said, are just going to scroll, especially because now you have to put in hashtag paid ads, things like that. I think it's going to be reimagined. I think that more regular people are going to become influencers accidentally. I think a lot of people just use products, they are influenced by what they see on TikTok or everyday things, hacks, oh my gosh, I never knew, da 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 da. You can use this for this purpose or whatever it may be. And because those people will already establish a very real rapport with their audiences and then become discoverable, I think it'll only continue to generate more viewership. So I think there's going to be an emerging renaissance, if you will, of just average people accidentally becoming influencers. And I do think that the curated influencer will always have its place, but I think that they're going to have to pivot as well. And I also think from like a celebrity standpoint, people are really starting to gloss over that, especially now in like our economy and things like that. It's just unrelatable to see a Kardashian using a $500 bottle of shampoo when, the average person, that's just not practical, and I think you're going to see other people pivot or give their take on those type of products, and then that's how people will make their purchasing behaviors.
How important is it for entrepreneurs themselves to promote their self-brand?
That is something I feel like since I started Helium 10, we've always gone back and forth with a little bit, because I started in 2019, and I don't know if you remember, a lot of people were very like, I just want to be behind the scenes. I want to be in my computer. That's why I chose this lifestyle. I just want to make my money and never be seen. And then I think as social media started coming into play more, people started doing more podcasts. They started being on camera more personalities emerged in the Amazon space. And I think also people who originally didn't want to be on camera started getting more comfortable to the idea, because I do think it's extremely important, especially when you are attending these Prosper Show events or Sell and Scale or anything else. Everyone's coming around, they want to interview you. Everyone wants to post about meeting you. It's, again, a new way, instead of exchanging business cards that are probably going to get lost. Now we took a photo together, I posted it, I tagged you, I have your contact information, And it's right in the palm of my hand. So anytime I'm thinking of you or something comes up, we have an instant connection. So I think it's extremely important to promote yourself and have your social media profiles elaborated on social media networks.
What is your take on investing in UGC, social media versus more professional videos and polished content?
Similarly, from like on the flip side of us at Helium 10, we usually do a mix of both. There's usually a pillar piece that is professionally shot, definitely with the right lighting, audio, etc., proper editing, all that. And then I think that pillar piece is super foundational to what you need to build your brand. And I think it's something that people look for because it also adds credibility. Similar to we talk about other large brands, if you didn't see a proper commercial from them, you'd be like, I'm skeptical about what services you're bringing me. But then on the flip side, because of social media has taken over, TikTok is definitely that like unproduced, grassroots, totally not, curated content, if you will. And I think people like to see that other side of it. And I think that's a whole new audience that you get to tap into, because I think there are older audiences that are looking for those traditional commercial types, those traditional pillar pieces you have on your website, et cetera. But then there's a younger generation that's probably going to find your product and brand and discover you based off of a behind the scenes, based off of somebody just going, oh my gosh, I got this new thing, check it out, link in bio. And it's so simple, it's so easy. And I think that can almost be more effective, because similar to how I mentioned, like, you're connecting with entrepreneurs, you're connecting with me as on a real level. These are people that other people trust and know. They actually have lunch with them and they went to school with them. And so they're saying, if this product, if this kitchen or home appliance or whatever you're selling is credible to this person, they're gonna go buy it. Yeah. So I think that's the other side of it. I definitely think it's a 50-50 split. I don't think you can have one without the other. And we were also talking right before we went on camera of, you can also recycle your professionally shot quality film and commercials and use it on social and have influencers remix it, have people put it on a green screen and talk behind it. Like, there's just so many opportunities. It's not done one way or the other.
What would you advise up and coming brands as far as media distribution and the best way to actually use that professional content they invest in?
I was just going to say, it's definitely an investment in your business, and you have to think of it for long term. I would say if you are investing the money, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 to have a professionally shot video, you also want to make sure it's evergreen. So you want to make sure you have your branding in place. This is something you want for longevity, because it is a long-term investment. And again, we were speaking about how once it's out there, that content will always circle back. Even if it's something you displayed your commercial at a Prosper show. Well, when people are doing a retrospective, where do you think that commercial is going to show up? It's going to come right back. So I would definitely make sure that it's evergreen content that you can use for a long period of time. As you mentioned, splicing it up into different things, different snippets, and also finding different purposes for those different snippets. So if, like you said, if it's a product in action, that's something that you can deliver out to influencers or even just other audiences to show how it works, how they can use your utensil or whatever it may be, your product, on camera. And then there's also the other side of it that you're like, well, this is a beauty shot. Can you put that on Instagram? Can that be a reaction video, a reaction photo, whatever that may be? So I think you have to really look at splicing up the content and making sure that it's something that you're going to want for a long period of time, because it is an investment. And especially if you're on a tight budget, you want to make sure you're using your money wisely.
Where would be the best monies invested in terms of content? In which area? What would be the primary media placement or ad buy, and like where would you start and how would you go about this?
I definitely think once you have your established product, once you have your brand and kind of nailed down checked all those boxes, I definitely think if you want to drive external traffic to your product listing, gotta have video. Especially with the way we're going with TikTok. Instagram is trying to catch up to TikTok. Now YouTube obviously has always been a hub for long form content, but even they're getting into YouTube Shorts. They're really getting into that playground, if you will. And you had mentioned like audio is super important. There was a time when, as you mentioned, videos just defaulted to being silent because everyone was watching stuff at work or, in public. And now the sounds are what make the video. The sounds are what trend, the sounds are what gets you to go viral. So definitely going back to our whole conversation about having a pillar piece. So definitely investing in a proper curated, professionally shot video for your brand is going to take you further than you need to go, than you ever imagined going. Because that is going to drive the external traffic to your listing. That's how you're going to deliver your messaging to influencers, how you're going to market it out to agency partners. There's just a lot of value add that you don't inherently see on face value, but as your brand and your business progress, you're going to see more of that. And you can also use that for paid ad placement. You can boost your video posts, and I think it's only going to continue to grow and become more exponential.
Do you feel like brand story is becoming more important, or is this not relevant at all? Because the feedback I'm getting from brands is like, well, we're just here to sell. Okay, we want to show our product, get a sale, get a profit, and move on. And I'm thinking major brands, Dyson, Coca-Cola, there's a lot of story in that. So I'm thinking, okay, well, in terms of Amazon, is it somewhere where brands should be moving into storytelling?
I love you. I'm so happy that someone, first of all, like you and I think so much alike, and these questions, I am just so happy you're asking them, because I think that's also been a push-pull for so long. I mean, again, even coming into Helium 10, I was kind of like, yeah, what are we all about? And they're like, oh, you know, we're in a closet at some point and we're working on this thing. And I was like, yeah, I can't respond with that. Like, what is the actual cohesive story? And, you know, we took a team to flesh it out, our marketing team, et cetera. I think it's so important. And I think there's very few products that can actually be successful not having a brand story, because it's all about first impressions. What is the first thing when you meet anyone? You told me you looked me up on IMDb. You want to know about my background. You want to know the same about your product and the founder. So I think it's extremely valuable. I also feel like when you're telling your brand story, that's how people connect. And when you're working with Amazon, Walmart, et cetera, they're really big on their own brand story. And also people are making their purchasing behaviors based on how you sourced your product. One thing I was talking to Kian Golzari about is people are really becoming very pertinent about what they choose. Is it ethically sourced? Is it organic? Is it sustainable? And if people can know that your product checks all those boxes, they're more likely to purchase it, and which they're not going to know if you're just showing it and there's no story behind it, or why that you're doing this, or why you chose to go above and beyond and make sure your product stood out from the rest. So I think it's absolutely important. You definitely need to, like I said, I think I'm right there with you, of any brand that's large scale, mainstream, they all have a story behind it. It's just part of marketing 101.
For example, we had a commercial for cleaning solution, and there we had main character. It was a lady dressed in United States military uniform, because we wanted to show this brand is American.
American made.
Mom comes back home after work, you know, dressed in her work military uniform, puts her backpack on the floor, hugs the child, and then, you know, they get to clean up the kitchen. And so we try to implement even little things, but that will move people. Because I feel like a lot of times, like on Amazon, when you watch content, and it's just like, okay, it's this size, this weight, this texture, there you go. Maybe cheaper, maybe not than your competition.
I've actually never bought anything off Amazon or any other marketplace that based on the dimensions. Like, I mean, I guess furniture and stuff, but even then I'm like, nah, I like it. Like, get it. So I think the story is more important, even as you just gave that example. There are so many military families. There are so many people who've had, whether they serve themselves or they've had family members or family, you know, that have been lost, whatever. That's a huge selling point. So I think again, people would never know if that wasn't part of the brand story, part of the commercial and the marketing. I want to know your brand story. How did we all get started? Tell me everything.
I was fresh out of college and had a chance to work a lot of jobs in Austin area, working with local production companies on big sets for Dell commercials. We've shot, you know, Kellogg's commercial. It was cool seeing like 50 people and a big bus of equipment, you know. It was a crazy experience for me being out of college. So many people working on one 30-second spot, you know. It was fantastic. And then we've done MTV music videos, you know, Cool Kids. That's one of the fun ones I've been a part of. It was like 2013, they were emerging stars or bands to watch.
So awesome.
That was cool. And then I got married to my wife, Yulia. We started selling on Amazon around 2015, 2016. When Amazon was still a wild west, I feel like at that point you could have just snapped a photo with your iPhone and
Oh, yeah.
it probably would sell. Then we started developing our brand in the baby category, started doing more professional photography and video content for what we were doing. And hey, we've started having other entrepreneurs reach out to us, like, hey guys, how do you do this content? And we started shooting videos and photos for other products.
Cool.
And then Yulia had this wonderful idea. Hey, what if we pivot? Because we fell so in love. She has acting and modeling background.
I could tell.
And I have background in professional films and commercials, and so we've combined all of our skills, and here we are.
Love it. Love it. That is so cool. And you guys, especially for you guys to merge those two worlds together, and as I mentioned, you're doing something that no one in this space is doing. You're really leveling it up. It's top tier. The credibility's there. I think you guys are paving the way. You're total trailblazers. I love it.
I look at it more like, solving a problem, being a helpful solution is just, in our case, the solution happens to be a video.
Oh, yeah.
Any brand, they're looking for return on investment.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that they will get what it is that they seek, which is being profitable.
It's incredible. And you see both sides of the fence too, because you were Amazon sellers, you are Amazon sellers, you know what they're looking for, what entrepreneurs need, and like you said, solving pain points, solving problems. And then you have that creative spectrum as well. So it's incredible to see you bridging both sides of the fence.
I'm so glad that you are, giving us all these golden nuggets and all the knowledge that you have.
Thank you so much for wanting to hear it. I appreciate you inviting me, and also the questions. It's so nice to talk and connect with somebody who speaks my language a little bit, because I think with social media or being a creative in this space, people are very left brain thinkers, the data, the numbers, the sourcing, and you need all those things, but there's a whole creative component that I feel like this space forgets, that there's so many more opportunities if you just kind of open your mindset. So it's very natural and nice to be able to speak to you and coming from the same backgrounds. Thank you. This is gonna be hung up in my office, okay? Every
Sure.
Zoom call will have this in the background. Oh my God, I'm so excited. No, this is incredible. Everything's branded. This looks incredible. Thank you guys.
Cassandra, thank you so much.
Thank
It's a
you.
pleasure.
Thank you so
for
much.
visiting us.